thanks everybody. I am Jordan Tata with Loop One and the National Key Account Director here. And our original idea was to start off with this poll. Polling in the new WebEx seems to be a little tricky for us technical folks to figure out. So we're going to skip the poll, but keep that in mind with your position. We'd love to hear back from you as to what your role is, what your thoughts were along with the feedback. So that is something we are interested in, is to know how this would apply in your day-to-day. But again, I am the National Key Account Director here at Loop One. Basically what that entails is I work with some of our largest clients on some of our largest deals. So I've been here about 6 years, and I have been kind of jack of all trades here at Loop One. I've worked with our engineering group on the managed services side, kind of herding cats on that end. I've worked with our web help desk team, and I've been on the inside sales role as well as the director of sales. So kind of done it all. Now working with the big accounts, talking about the fun strategery and large decision making as it applies to SolarWinds, but also some new technologies is obviously indicated by this webinar today. So Martin, I want to let you give your introduction so I don't say anything out of turn about you. But, yeah, great to have you.
Thanks. Yeah, my name is Martin Tully. I'm a sales engineer here at Portnox, and I don't have that long list of resume as Jordan does, but I started in July here at Portnox and did a brief stint with another company, and actually did work at SolarWinds for a while, so I'm familiar with their applications as a sales engineer. So just looking forward to being able to share what Portnox Clear can do as a NAC solution for your company.
Great, thank you. Yeah, now that common background is for the attendees, you'll find is there is some loose ties and some strong ties in all of our backgrounds here, and I think you'll appreciate that. But as far as Loop One and who we are and where we came from, we were founded as a SolarWinds services company. We filled a need that did not exist within the vendor. Our owner, Bill Fitzpatrick, basically was a SolarWinds SE back in the early 2000s. Prior to that, he was at Microsoft. But he went, him and the co-founder at the time, just asked, "Hey, are you guys ever going to do hands-on services and training for your product? Because we keep getting asked to provide it." And they said nope. So enter Loop One, and from that point on, we've been kind of running in lockstep in terms of growth with SolarWinds. Not saying we're as big. You can see the stats here. We've got about 100 global employees, but we have grown from the two of them and their one engineer who was learning on the fly to about 25 engineers who are SCP certified and have delivered over 5,000 professional services engagements since 2009. Obviously, SolarWinds got a unique and storied recent history, but what that taught Loop One a few key things. Number one is it's the train you don't see coming that hits you. And secondly, and almost as importantly for a small company like Loop One, is while it can be fun to go down the river on one log, it's sometimes nice to have a couple tied together. And then thirdly, I think it forced us to be more attentive to our own internal security stance and how we connect with clients, but also start maybe taking notice to what our clients have been asking and what they've been telling us that their pain points are over the years. And one of that has certainly been InfoSec, and that was prior to Sunburst, but much more so after the fact. But they want to be able to remain secure as they expand. And many of our clients that need a services company like Loop One are expanding fast. And there's been tools placed on our direct points of contact heads that, hey, you've got 7 tools. How come your job is so hard? We've given you all the tooling, so shouldn't it be easier? Well, in truth, we all know that it's not that easy to manage more and more tools, especially those as robust as SolarWinds, and still be able to remain sane and go home at night at a reasonable hour. So enter some partners. Bill, our owner, as I mentioned, has been doing this since 2009. He's been approached probably by definitely hundreds of companies, maybe even in the thousands of, hey, we'd like to partner with you. We'd love to tap into your client network and sell them our software. He's been very hesitant to do so and very picky in particular as to who we partner with. Portnox is a natural fit. He wanted to focus on complementary tools, not overlapping tools. He didn't want us selling competing products or products that already do things that we know our clients already have. That's a waste of money. And one of the things that our clients come to us for is to help rationalize their tool set. Portnox, again, is a natural fit. It's something that's not only the ties go run deep from Bill's experience at SolarWinds and the personnel now at Portnox driving the train there, but just again in what it does that SolarWinds does not do, and something that we know that our clients need, and we hear our clients struggle with in their legacy tools. That, hey, I can't undertake this important SolarWinds project or this important upgrade or whatever the case may be because I'm still bogged down in upgrading all of my Cisco I servers, for example. And I guess last but not least, in terms of who we are today, all these partners that are complementary that you see on the screen, they're all, number one, complementary, but they're all security minded. So they all have a zero trust presence. They all have, with the exception of graphical networks, things that help improve that security and compliance posture for our clients. And Portnox certainly, along with the rest, but Portnox stands out as one that we're very excited about, and very excited to have Martin here to show us how easy it is, how robust it is, and how it can really help our clients and hopefully some of you on this call see how a solution like this can improve your day-to-day, can improve and speed up time to value for other projects you may be involved in today, simply by freeing up some time and making it so that you don't have to worry about your NAC solution going forward, that somebody's going to be managing that for you for the most part. So hopefully I haven't done what most salespeople do and paint Martin into an uncomfortable corner in any way, but right before we let him kick off with his bit, we did have, again, polling issues, but we would also like to know if you do have an ISC tool or an NAC solution, excuse me, what are you using today? And if you're comfortable sharing with us in chat or in the follow-up, we'd love to hear what you're using today. And for many reasons, right? You know, similar to SolarWinds, if you were asking us about a network monitoring solution, we want to know, okay, what are you doing today? Because there's different, each tool has different strengths, different weaknesses, and that helps frame the context of a response if you were interested in anything. So letting us know what you're using today would be very helpful, but you know, obviously you don't have to, and obviously it would be cool in real time, but not to worry, we are well-adjusted people who can adjust quickly, right, Martin? So believe that is over to you, sir. So I will shuffle the slides when you give me the signal and turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. So we can jump to the next slide. And so really, before we jump into the demo, I just want to briefly touch on a few things, a couple of slides here. You know, Portnox has been around since 2007, and it's been a major player in the market for about 15 years now. Customer base is global. It's spanning nearly every industry, size, and shape. We're headquartered here in Austin. We do have offices overseas and a global resale and distribution network in all our markets. Go to the next slide. And so many companies today are experiencing a bit of a perfect storm out there for network security teams. You know, BYODs, remote work, cloud app adoption, fear of new cyber attacks, limited IT headcount, and all of those issues combined, leave your work cut out for you guys. And when it comes to security network access, and on the next slide, as you may know, NAC is a critical component of your network security stack. But traditionally, the options available to most companies have been, extremely complex to deploy and manage. And unless you have deep pockets to pay for professional services, it's not uncommon that, at least in Portnox's experiences, for many NAC deployments to fail or stall out.
Yeah, we certainly don't deal with too many clients who have too many IT staff.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest complaint. Just not enough people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so on-site appliances, obviously, when you're deploying a Radius server, ongoing maintenance of that server, hardware end of life, all of those factors have made, NAC a frustrating endeavor. So search in any of major networking communities like Reddit, you'll find no shortage of grievances aired about deploying, upgrading, or patching on-premise NAC solutions. Go to the next slide. So the inherent value of the cloud is well known, but when it comes to NAC, it's particularly eye-opening. Accelerating deployment times and eliminating system maintenance frees up your team up to focus on other security priorities. It also means that you can stretch your bottom line by eliminating professional services and hardware replacements, and future-proofs your security stack for emerging network trends. Go to the next slide. Yep. And this is what Portnox Clear was designed to do, to give you all the critical NAC functionality you need without any of the hassle of on-premise systems. The platform is fully native, requiring no on-site hardware to operate. It's hosted in Azure, can scale very easily. Clear can be implemented across all access layers, supporting all common device types. It's vendor agnostic, supporting all major operating systems and hardware that support .1x, and offers out-of-the-box integrations, which we will review here shortly. So Portnox Clear, fully device awareness, knowing when any device requests authentication to the network, so no matter location or access layer. As you can see here on the slide, our Clear radius can be deployed in a matter of minutes, as it's simple as activating a single click of a mouse and pointing to your existing network hardware. Clear then authenticates the devices through a variety of methods which is needed, including MAC-based integrations, Active Directory, PKI, and certificate-based authentications. Based on the user's role and or location, we can dynamically assign new authenticated users to specific VLANs, helping prevent any type of lateral movement should threats arise. For customers who choose to implement Microsoft Intune integration, who utilize, and you can also utilize our proprietary agent peer Clear can automatically continually monitor the risk posture of devices on the network. And so when devices fall out of compliance, exceeding the customer risk threshold by your networking team, Clear can automatically quarantine and remediate those devices, helping them bring them back into a healthy compliance state, ensuring a secure posture 24/7. Clear works with the dozens of firewalls and antivirus solutions, as well as security incident and event management tools, enabling you to unify key areas of your security. So if you think about like SolarWinds Security Event Manager, that's something that we could definitely integrate with. Next slide, please. And as we try to stress, there's essentially no stone unturned when it comes to NAC functionality that Clear's offers out of the box. So you can see, everything that we provide here. We will provide the radius, the authentication, security, visibility, control, the mitigation. We do provide, again, remediation using Agent P and reporting. And I believe that is the end of the slides. And so let me share out my screen.
This is the part where Helen does her magic and I think and gives you control. So
she is indeed.
Awesome. What would we do without you?
There you go. You should have power now.
All right.
Martin.
And I will share that out. All right. You should be able to see my screen.
Yep.
Myself down here. Okay. All right. So one of the first things you'll need to do is sign up for a Clear account, right? So you'll go to a Clear registration page, sign up for Clear. You can see here you'll enter your information. You can also sign up with G Suite or Azure directory, create an account, and we will create a tenant in Azure. and then you'll be able to log in to your Clear tenant. Once in your tenant, one of the first things that you're going to want to do is create your radius service. So as you can see here on the top, I have settings and I have a Clear radius service button here. We've already deployed 2 radius servers, but it's just a matter of just clicking a button. It would say here, create a new radius service. You would click on it. We would actually start deploying that for you. And within minutes, you will have an IP that you will assign that you put in your network devices. So we'll give you the Clear radius IP, an authentication port, an accounting port, a shared secret. We also can do RADSec. So all that will be provided for you automatically. We do have a cluster of servers in the backend, load balanced. You can deploy another radius service if you want to. We do provide them in the US and in Europe, Asia. So even if you wanted redundancy, you could deploy both of them and put them in your network devices. It's not a problem. The US one, again, is in Eastern United States, in Virginia. And again, we do have the Europe, Asia one as well. That I believe is in the Netherlands.
Sorry, there's a quick question in the chat. Is there a client agent, and how do you handle EAP TLS on Windows, since Windows clients don't natively support EAP TLS?
So the agent basically would deploy a certificate to the endpoint device, and that's how it will authenticate through. So there's 2 ways to authenticate through into the 802.1x, right? One would be certificate based, the second would be username and password. You can definitely change up the way you want to authenticate, and I will show that here when we get to the authentication repositories. But it can be certificate based authentication. The agent, either you can deploy the certificate or Clear does provide you a certificate as well. And then you can send out those certificates via SCEP. And we do work with MDM solutions like MS Intune, obviously, Jamf. And so you can deploy certificates that way. And again, username and password would be another way. And the agent also will deploy certificate as well.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Hopefully that answered your question, sir. All right.
All right. And so as stated, right, you'll create your radius server. Once this is done, we have a great help section here, which we have most vendors here where you can, we'll show you where you need to put in that information for the radius server. And again, we will provide you all that. These 2 servers, again, if you want to do it redundant, you can deploy. It's no extra cost. It's part of our service. And the second piece would be obviously, deploying how we going to authenticate the end user. So there we have the radius service is ready to go, right? Which is going to enable you to allow, wired, wireless, and VPN channels. And then again, we talked about certificates. So by default, Clear will provide you with a certificate, right? So we will provide you with a certificate here, a trusted root certificate. If you have your own PKI server and your own cert, you can definitely upload those up into Clear so that we can authenticate and make them trusted. As stated, we do provide SCEP, right? So we will give you SCEP. So if you have SCEP, we will provide that for you as well. And you can see here, we even have a SCEP for MS Intune, which we've done already. So you have all that built in for you automatically. So we will provide you with a certificate. If you already have your own, again, you can use that as well. So that's one way of authenticating users is through a certificate, which is probably the best way to do it. The other way to do it is obviously some sort of username and password authentication. And so we integrate with Google Workspace, Azure Active Directory, we have Okta, and of course, on-prem AD as well as Open Ldap. So you have the ability to do that. And you can see here are some of the Active Directories. We do have a broker that's installed on the domain that's communicating back to Clear to give us the information about the groups that are inside that Active Directory. So again, integrating with AD on-prem, Open Ldap, Google Workspace, Azure Active Directory, and Okta. So we have all those authentication repositories for you to use. So certificate-based authentication repositories. So we have all that very easily that you can use here.
Another question, Martin.
Yep.
For Fed, how are you handling those agencies, secondary sites? How would they then integrate?
For feds, I would have to get back to you on that one. I'll have to ask, and then I can put that as a follow-up question.
Okay, great, thank you.
Let me write that down. So once we have all that set up, we'll have we have everything set up. We have whether we're going to do a certificate base or using a password. The second thing is to create some policies. And the other thing I talked about the certificate was, again, the agent will provide a certificate as well. If you want to deploy the agent, you can deploy the agent via GPO. The agent's going to give you the ability to do some risk assessment as well as remediation on devices. So one of the next things you're going to want to do is create a policy. So you can have multiple policies. You can see here we have multiple policies for different things. So maybe contractors that are coming into your facility, or just different groups, right? So maybe accounting, finance, all of those belonging to different VLANs, and you want to separate them out. So you can see here, we have accounting, we have our Austin office, Boston printers, so different types of policies that we can assign to groups, which we'll do here in a second. So when you create a policy for a specific group, you have three types of networks. You have wireless, you have wired, and VPN. So you can say upon successful authentication, go ahead and let them through. But you can also say, maybe I'm going to assign them to a specific VLAN. So if accounting was in VLAN 100 and I'm going to assign this specific policy to that accounting group, I can say, hey, look, I know the accounting group is VLAN ID 100, so I can do that from within here. I can definitely do it through VLAN name as well. I can also see use ACLs as well. So I can definitely assign them to an ACL rule, that I can do that from within here. So you have successful authentication, and that would be for wireless, wired, or VPN. So you do have three options here. Each one has different settings that you can put in. So that is successful authentication. You can do authentication violation. So if they do not authenticate correctly, you can just say deny access, or maybe do go ahead and let them on the network, but maybe keep them separated out, maybe with no network access, maybe just internet, something like that. But you can definitely do that from within here. And then we'll talk about risk policy violation. So this is a access control policy that you can create from within Clear. The other thing that I talked about was risk assessments, right? So you can do a risk assessment policy, and you can have multiple policies from within here. So when I click on edit, you can see here with the agent, right, we basically have all the OSs covered here. So we have Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and Linux. And again, like if I selected Windows, I have specific attributes that I can assign a risk score that can turn into actions. So whether it's by geolocation, it's by open ports, right? Windows registry, device encryption. If you use an Intune, right, you can do that from within here. Maybe a specific running service that should be forbidden. I can assign this a score. So you can see here in this particular case, a running service has a score of 100. So if it's a 100, I basically have all my risk scores here, which I can turn into actions. So 0 to 69 means, okay, that's fine. Go ahead and let them on. 70 to 100, let's go ahead and send me an alert. And if it's a 100, or maybe if I move my slider over 90 to 100, would mean to block that. So block that device, right? Because it's hit the risk score of 90 to 100. So you can see here, you have a lot of different attributes that you can select. One of the ones that really stand out here is peripheral devices, right? So if you think about USB blocking, something that Security Event Manager does. And again, these are alerts that you could send to your SIM solution, like Security Event Manager, and then have Security Event Manager perform some sort of action in the back end to alleviate that issue. If we're doing agentless, we're basically we're using Intune. So if you have Microsoft Intune, we will use Intune's compliance and give them a risk score from within there.
A couple more questions coming, Martin. Is since it's Clear is sending IS for the machine, it's an IS for the machine. Does it support both cert and Active Directory login?
Yes.
Okay. And then the second one was: are there baseline configs for network gear that need to be implemented on the switches for initial setup?
No. No, you on the switches, all you have to do is enable AAA authentication.
Perfect. All right. Cool.
And then the other policy is the remediation policy, right? So to do any type of remediation, this would require the agent. So the agent has the ability to run some actions here. So restart an antivirus, firewall, maybe an application removal. So you can see that from there, run a login script. So all these different types of remediation policies, if you're familiar with server and application monitor, you're familiar that you can obviously restart services if it stops. Same type of thing here. We're using the agent to restart services on a device. And of course, you can also do that with Mac as well. Clear also has the ability as an add-on to do TACX. So if you have TACX, we have the ability to do that as well. So you can basically say what is the privilege level. You can run some auto commands. What are the allowed services? Custom attributes. You can do custom command-based, right? So maybe forbidden or allowed commands when an admin logs in or somebody logs into a switch or router. You can definitely put in specific commands, or like, again, we could definitely run some auto command once they log into the network device. So again, TACX is something that is available on Clear. It is a separate add-on for Clear. But once I have my policies and I create my policies, then basically I'll create groups. And you can see here, I have different groups here. I have my accounting group, right? I have a contractor group, right? IP phones, right? So Mac-based accounts that are coming through, IoT devices that I might have, right? So I created all these groups. I'm going to click on the accounting group here, and I'll click edit. So when I create a group, we created our policy for the accounting group, and we said, hey, when they log in, the group, it's going to go to VLAN 100. And from here is where I can select what those members of that group are going to be. In this particular case, if I did Azure AD, for instance, and I expanded this out, we grabbed all the groups from Azure AD. And then I can come in here and say, okay, let me go ahead and grab, a specific group, throw them over here. The automation users, let's say, so I put them, that is the group that is in this specific Clear accounting group. And then I can assign specific settings to that group. So one, obviously I can do automatic device onboarding, right? So enable automatic Ldap device onboarding for that group. As I scroll down here, I'm assigning specific policies to that group. So in this particular case, if you remember, we did say, hey, we want to put in the accounting risk policy in here, and I'm going to add a policy, access policy, and I'm going to add that accounting policy that we saw there that we created. So I have my accounting access default policy for my accounting group. I have my accounting risk policy that I put in there. And then I can say what type of ways that this group can authenticate. So one of the preferred is the authentication certificate. So I can definitely use the clear one, or I can select issued a custom trusted root certificate. So if you have your own root certificate, you can say that one's the one you want to use. You can say that they can log in through a wireless network. So if I click on add Wi-Fi network, I would basically put in the SSID. So let's say it was the ACCT SSID is the SSID for the accounting group. What are the allowed authentication types for that Wi-Fi? I can say it's credentials and certificate based, and I'm going to say it's going to be the agent and agent list that's going to be allowed there. So they'll be able to connect to that specific SSID. They'll have to use credentials or a certificate to get on the Wi-Fi network. And same thing for wired. So I can just say enable wireless networks. Again, credentials, certificate based, agent and agent list. Somebody had talked about the types of authentication types. So here you can see here by default, we're defaulting to MS-CHAP v2, but you can definitely have the ability to change that to EAP TTLS or just EAP TLS. So you have the abilities to do that. So a lot of functionality from within there. If I want to enable VPN access for this group, I can just have to put a check mark in here as well. So again, you can create as many groups as you need, create your policies, and then we'll have all that information in there. So when somebody from the accounting group logs in and they're part of that members, they will get that policy that you created. So automatically would put them into that VLAN 100 and they would authenticate through. And we could see all the accounts from within here under devices. This is where we would see all the accounts. So we have our settings, we have our policies, we have our groups, and now people are starting to log in. This is where we're going to start seeing all the fruits of our labor. So you can see here all of the accounts that are coming through. You know, I can see here, hey, here's a TV that logged in. So obviously Mac-based account that got came in, right? So that was the network authentication type you can see here. And we can see what kind it is. It is a television. It is from TCL. When was it last looked at? What VLAN did it default to? What is the NAS IP? So I can see all that information from within here. If I scroll down a little bit more, you can see here the other things that's coming through, end users that are logging in. So I can see all that information. I'm going to actually create a filter here, and I'm going to go by NAS type. And very easily, I can just select what I want to filter by. I can say apply those chosen filters. Once I've done that, I can definitely just say save this filter so I can come back in here at any time. But now I can see, hey, here are all my IP phones. These are all coming in from Israel. You know, so I can see all these different things. I can see these laptops that are connected through a MacBook Pro. So if I want to just click on one of these devices, I can click on it. It's going to give me information about that specific device that logged into the network, the device type, what is the vendor, when was the last time it reported, where is it coming in from, the public IP, right? A network, what VLAN it's on, what port it's on, right? So I get all that information from within here very quickly. If I click on this little notepad here, it's actually going to give me more information about that device. So again, security products, maybe applications, again, depending on how that user is authenticating through is the way we're going to see specific information about that device, open ports, browsers. But again, you're getting a lot of detailed information based on what we can see from within here. And you can also see here in these specific devices, you know, the risk assessment score is 60 on these devices. And I can quickly hover my mouse and see that an app version had changed on this specific device here. I can say analyze timeline. Maybe I say, hey, maybe I want to take a look at this a little bit deeper. If I click analyze timeline, basically what we do is we grab all the alerts that were presented for the specific device and just group them together so you can see them here in this one window. So I can see the authentication successes that are coming through, right? Mac-based authentication against a clear repository. So I can see everything that's happened from within here.
And there is no .1x config needed for network gear on the end user's part. That's another question that came in, and I think, you know, coming from a services company, it's maybe a little confusing. We are comfortable selling a product that requires no professional services if it helps our clients. So, yeah, obviously, the level of effort is key here for a lot of folks. So, will it simplify that 802.1x requirement for your customers?
So, I mean, you know, obviously when we talk about clear, that's probably one of the biggest things is when I talk to customers is that the simplicity of deploying the 802.1x to radius server service, as you saw that when we created that in the settings page. You know, in terms of setting up devices, whether it's, you know, like Meraki or Cisco switches, you know, it's really simple. Like I said, in our help section here, we've gone through here and how to set up authentication repositories, how to do the wireless for Meraki or Teleworker. As you can see, we have most companies here for wired networks, how to set it up. So again, if it was a Cisco device, we'll tell you what commands need to be run on the switch in order to enable 802.1x on that device. So, you know, again, just click on it. It'll open up the PDF. It'll tell you what commands need to be run. And so you can see that from within here, what needs to be done, AAA authentication, and then just basically enabling the port for access. Now, this is obviously CLI based. You know, you can also do it from within a lot of the Cisco gear also has, you know, just web configs that you can set up very quickly as well.
So SolarWinds
The
client
ability.
use NCM for that?
They could, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You could run a script and just tell it to deploy out. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Yep. Good point, Jordan.
Well, thanks, Martin. Get one per webinar.
Yeah. You can hang up now.
That's right.
So yeah, so going back to the devices, you could see here again, you know, I can do any filters. So that's one of this is one view. This is by viewing it by accounts. The other thing is a network view, right? So again, I can see my device, my NAS device from within here and see what ports people are connected to. So if I click on this VoIP one here, I'll be able to see the port that they're connected to, what the device is, right? So I can see what that is. And just very quickly get some information about that device and what they're connected to. If it's a access point, right, I could click on the access point and see who's connected to that access point. So, you know, thinking about like, you know, what is a big complementary piece to clear in terms of endpoint devices and ports that they're connected to. You know, think about user device tracker, right? So user device tracker, you know, taking a look at endpoints that are connected to, you know, switches or different ports, you know, what's connected on there. You know, this is a great complementary piece, not only to know what's connected, but how are they authenticating through, right? I know that guy, when working at SolarWinds, one of the biggest questions is how do I know if somebody's connected to a port, right? And this is where Clear Portnox can help out, give that extra layer of visibility into what's going on to the network. Because I know what's connected on there and I know if somebody's trying to connect there because I'll see that in my alerts section. Let me jump over here to alerts because I can see when people are trying to log in. You can see here that Wi-Fi provisioning failed for this device. You know, different things that are going on the network from within here. A new application was installed. So you can see here that I'm getting a lot of information, authentication success. A new application was installed. So you get a new certificate, right? A new SIM card was inserted in this device for an iPhone, right? So that's something that, you know, I haven't even seen before until today. So that's pretty cool. You know, and you can see that this device became compliant, right? So it wasn't compliant at one point, and now it has become compliant. So we get a lot of information that you can see here. You know, this is very easy to do a notification. Again, I can send an email or I can definitely send it out to my SIM solution for authentication. So you can definitely see all these alerts from within here. Again, I can come in here and do some filters by alert severity, alert type, right? So if I just wanted to say, you know, specific things here, I can say show more, and I can see authentication success, or maybe, you know, failed, my MAC bypass denied, or here's an 802.1x failures, right? So I can see anything from within there. Again, this would be where you can see that somebody's trying to log in and they got denied. And then I can just click here and say reset all. So you get the alerts, right? You get the nice device view, seeing information about those specific devices. In terms of Mac-based, right? You can create Mac-based accounts from within here. I can say what are the allowed Mac vendors, right? And just basically put in a Mac vendor in here. And if I select Cisco, right, I'll have all the Mac prefixes that we know of for Cisco, and it's just a matter of selecting them all and saying save. And so anytime a Cisco Mac device comes online, it would be allowed through this account. Again, I can assign it a specific group, and that group would have a specific policy that could say anytime a Mac device comes on board, put it into the specific VLAN that has no access to our network, or whatever that we know, whatever type of segregation you want to do for that device. That is something that you can do from within here. The other thing that we do provide is the ability to create a captive portal service. So if you want to allow your guest to jump on the network on your Wi-Fi, you have the ability to do that from within here. We will provide you with a captive portal. You have different types of authentication. You can do a clear guest, no authentication, just a disclaimer. You can send the credentials via SMS, or you can do a sponsored guest as well. So you have the ability to do that from within here. So clear captive portal, if I wanted to see my guests, I can definitely come in here and take a look who those guests are and who actually sponsored those guests. So I'd be able to see that from within here just by clicking guest. Again, I can see who's connected and when their expiration is. description, so I could see all of that from within here very, very quickly. Going back to settings, we do provide reports as well. So if I come down here, the clear reporting, there is reports that you can send out. So we will provide you some reports from within here as well. So again, the settings that we have, we talked about, being able to do it through the agent, sending out certificates via an MDM or through your GPO. You can also do self-onboarding, right? So you can also self-onboard users. You can do MAC address-based onboarding. So there's a lot of ways to get people on to the network, right? So there's a lot of flexibility in the product. And again, the authentication repositories, whether it's Google or Azure Active Directory, the integration services that we have with SIM, MS Intune, all of that is in there. We talked about the help section. So we do have, again, you can see here all the documentation that we have. We do have an API as well. So if you want to use the API, we do have an API that you can use as well from within here. The other thing that we do provide, but it's not necessary, is a local TACX. So sometimes customers would say, well, what happens if the internet goes down? How are we going to authenticate our users? Well, you do have the ability to deploy a local TACX or local radius service. My apologies, a local radius service on your on-prem, right? So it's a small Hyper-V, it's a Hyper-V or VMware image running a small Linux OS distro. And then you can deploy that radius service. You would instead of pointing it to clear the public IP, you would point it into the local radius instance. That local radius instance will send out all the communication back out to our clear service. If there is an issue and it sees that there is no internet, then basically it'll take over the authentication for the end users. What it does is it keeps about 7 days worth of information on there. So that's another option. Again, that is an option. It is not required. It's just that in case you said, hey, you know what, we do have issues with the internet, or maybe this specific place does have a lot of issues with connecting back, you can deploy a local radius instance as well. And again, the TACX has the ability to do that as well. So you can deploy a local TACX so that we can send all authentication requests back out to clear. Under the alert, you would see any type of TACX coming through. So if I type in alert type, if I click on alert type and I say show more, I'll be able to see any type of TACX coming through to the system. And that's about it for the demo. It's really that easy. I mean, it's those couple of things: the settings, the certificates, authentication repositories, creating policies and groups, and then basically watching people authenticate through. We do have a great support system here at Portnox, as well as onboarding teams to help you get started. So there's a lot that we can provide.
Great. Yeah, I know our experience so far has been that, clients have been really pleased with the speed and efficiency of these deployments. So really appreciate you showing us around. If there's any questions before we transfer control of the presentation, Mag, anything else anybody wants to see, throw it in chat. Certainly got a few minutes to let Martin kick the tires a little bit more for anybody that wants to see anything or might have missed something. And while we're waiting to see if any questions come in, Martin, I think maybe this is more my space, but keep me honest. If this is licensed by a number of devices, there's an agent installed on. Is that correct?
Yeah. So by devices, number of devices, there is a extra cost for the agent. So there is a little bit of an extra cost if you want to use the agent. But we do have all of that really pretty much out here in our website. So if you go to pricing, you can come in here and take a look at some of the pricing and what that is. So whether it's Radius as a service or NAC as a service, you can see all that information from within here.
Yeah, one of the things that's compelling to me is that, you know, typically when you hear SaaS, you think, well, this is going to be more expensive than an on-premise solution, right? But it hasn't proven out that way in our experience with some of the clients that we've presented this to. Do you want to speak to that? I'm happy to put some.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I mean, the thing is, we're going to do all the work in the back end, right? We're going to be updating the Radius servers, and so you won't have to worry about that, whether it's even if it's the local, if you deploy a local Radius server, again, we will do the updating for that. You don't have to worry about that. And so, the ability to deploy it very quickly, and just being able to point your devices to that Radius service that we set up for you, right? We're providing you with that IP. It's specific to your organization, and just pointing your network devices to it. It's a simple. I mean, with Meraki, you put in a couple of, you just plug in this information in there, the authentication, the accounting port. So all that information, you just plop it in there, and really within a matter of minutes, you can start seeing some authentication alerts come through. People trying to authenticate, whether they're getting denied or allowed into the network. The other thing that we can do is we can definitely, during the trial phase, we can definitely we can say, hey, you know what, go ahead and let everybody through for the time being, because maybe we're just going to put it in monitoring mode until we make sure that we have everything ready to go, and then we can switch it over to live-based authentication. So we can just basically say, just keep it, in monitoring mode until we can figure out, make sure that everybody is able to access the network without any type of issues. So you can see here, monitoring mode only.
Yeah, we've seen recently, I think, new quotes for Portnox Clear coming in at a lower cost than an ISE renewal.
Yeah,
so
that's definitely
a little context.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing. We do have some promotions going on with Cisco ICE that we have, that our sales reps would be more than happy to talk to you about, because that is something that we do see a lot. One, us being in the cloud, and Cisco obviously not being there, and just the ease of use of deployment of this, and of course keeping it up to date is very big. When we talk to customers that don't want to use Cisco ICE anymore. So that's been a big selling point for us, and it's definitely helped a lot.
Well, I'm not seeing any further requests for functionality requests. Certainly contact Loop One, contact Martin at Portnox directly, but really it's let us know. We can help set up a POC. We can show you more, answer more questions, and send materials, quotes, all through Loop One. As a reseller partner, we're happy to engage with existing clients and new clients, but existing clients to help expand what we've done for you in the past and show you something new. So, Helen, I think we've maybe got a couple more slides remaining here, and then I saw the questions about the Grubhub cards. Important questions. Helen was on top of that, so I fully understand the need to get the food delivered on a timely manner. So I know Helen will stay on top of that. So have no fear. If you're eligible for the Grubhub card, it will certainly be delivered to you.
I wasn't sure if I was eligible for a Grubhub card.
You know what, Martin? We'll send you one. You did a great job on the demo. Absolutely. So let's see, I guess I need to share. We can wrap this thing up. Everybody can see the screen. I think the last few slides are just for questions, which we've handled. We do have some upcoming webinars. We're doing another with Portnox next week on my birthday, so I will be delivering that one as well. And haven't decided whether or not I'm going to wear my party hat or not. So please join in again.
I think you should.
Absolutely. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Normal, right? And then one of the other tools that we've partnered with, KnowBe4. So if you've ever gotten a suspicious looking email with suspicious looking attachments, KnowBe4 is a solution. It's security compliance for your company and how to protect from phishing attacks, ransomware, things like that. So real compelling tool, one we use internally, one that we found to be very, very helpful as well. Again, here's the links. You'll get the slides and the follow-up and the recording. Download or request a demo. We'll reach back out to you quickly. We'll set it up quickly. You can get Martin back on the line if you have specifics. Really, we just want to know what your pain points are. We want the opportunity to win the business. That's what we're all about here at Loop One and Portnox. Just give us a shot. It really doesn't take much time out of your day to give this thing a go and show the powers that be, look, there's an easier way to do things. So
yeah. And Jeff, I definitely will get back to you on that about the Fed support. So I'll definitely follow up with you on that.
Great. I think that's it. Martin, did I miss anything? I know you didn't. But
No, I think that went a little bit faster than I expected, but yeah, I mean, again, just talking about, as an endpoint, the integration as a complementary piece to SolarWinds. I know there's probably a lot of SolarWinds customers, talking about user device tracker, access rights manager, security event manager. So there's a lot there to give you that extra peace of mind on the network. Like I said, especially with user device tracker, you talked about it, Jordan. If you have NCM, you could definitely send that out to update the network devices to allow that AAA authentication on there. So there's a lot there that we can work together and definitely complement each other.
Yeah, we're excited to see more. We haven't really gotten to at least on the delivery side, to sink our teeth into, okay, if a client does own IPAM and UDT and NCM, how can we leverage those tools to make this even more integrated and even more useful for, our clients day to day? If they've got a whitelist built out on UDT, what's there for them already, to make
Right.
this even more easy to use.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, Martin, I really appreciate it. Fantastic job, sir, and I look forward to working with you some more. And Helen, thank you for setting all this up and being the glue that holds this thing together.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Helen. Thanks to everybody who joined. Appreciate it. Taking some time out. Enjoy your lunch, your free Grubhub, wherever gets it.
Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, Martin. And just a quick reminder, if you can complete the survey, it should pop up as you exit today's webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.